A legislative committee says the UW system can't impose new COVID mandates on campus without getting its approval. The Republican-controlled Rules Committee will require the system to submit plans for COVID-19 policies to the committee as emergency rules within 30 days. The committee would then have the power to suspend those rules. In response, the system said the committee's action feels like a political statement, and the system is focused on doing what needs to be done to be safely open this fall. So we asked UW System President Tommy Thompson on today's program, and the system said he wasn't available. We're talking now with Republican Representative Adam Nealon of Pewaukee, who sits on the Joint Rules Committee. Thank you for being on up front today, Representative. Why do you want the UW system to go through your committee for COVID protocol?
Yeah, it starts with just making sure that agencies and administration, in this case UW system, follows the law. Too often, we've allowed agencies, the administration, the UW system to circumvent the legislative process in doing these unilateral rules that have the same impact as law without going through the legal legislative process. So not only are we protecting our constituents and the students, but we're protecting the institution, because we worry what comes next if we don't stand up to an administration and a system that doesn't want to follow the rules.
I mean, what could come next? What are you so concerned about?
Potentially forced vaccinations could be the next step. If the UW system right now is asking for mask requirements with enforcement regulations, that they would be able to enforce that with punishment, which is part of the issue here, that punishment component. The next step that we fear is that they would require forced vaccinations. And that is something that is public policy that should go through the legislative process. Well, a chancellor at one university system shouldn't have the power to force public university students to get vaccinations to attend the university. That is something that has precedence in terms of going through the legislative process.
When you say forced vaccinations, some UW schools had announced unvaccinated students and staff would be required to get tested weekly. Do you think your committee would allow that?
I don't want to speak for my whole committee, but my issue has never been with testing. I know that is an issue that's been in the news about us, blocking testing type requirements. That's not my issue. The issue is, first of all, standing up for the rule of law and making sure that the university goes through the administrative rule-making process. And secondly, to make sure we protect students from things that are unnecessary and something that they might have reluctance to do. And students that are vaccinated, that have gone through that process, and from all indications, that is a large majority of the university students, both that will be living and attending the system, not to be required then to wear a mask when they've already taken the necessary precautions. So my issue isn't with testing, but it's with standing up for the rule of law, making sure the processes are legally followed, and making sure there's not an overreach in terms of what they're forcing university students to do.
Well, as you know, Tommy Thompson, the UW system president, is not only a former Republican governor, but also a former United States Health and Human Services secretary. You could say he has experience with things like this. So why do you think that you would know better about whether students should be wearing masks?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of former Governor Tommy Thompson. I would love to work with him through this process in terms of putting together some sort of rule package that everyone would be comfortable with. I'm not saying that we know better in terms of what the university system should be promulgating in their rules. What we're saying is they should be promulgating rules, that they should be going through the process, that we should have this discussion. And it's not a case of we just up or down, yes, we approve the rules, or no, we don't. We can identify specific rules within that we say, oh, you know what, 99% of this is good, but this 1% we object to. So we can object to partial components of the rules. So I think there's a lot of room to find, to negotiate, to find common ground in terms of what that looks like.
Does this somehow end up in court, you think?
It's possible. And if it does, I'm confident, based on the previous cases regarding administrative rules, that we have the authority to make sure that agencies or administrations, or in this case, university system, is following the proper rule-making process.
Okay, Representative, thank you. We appreciate your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
A big change in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. Candidate Chris Larson, the state senator from Milwaukee, dropped out and endorsed Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, also reports that Waukesha County Executive Paul Farrow is running for state GOP chair. You'll find all these stories on the election blog at WisPolitics.com. And we'll be right back with a look ahead to next week's show.